Welcome to the Lechdich Parsha podcast, where we delve into the Torah's timeless wisdom and uncover uplifting and empowering lessons tailored to the challenges of our generation.
Good dinner of Shabbos, Parshas Vayeitzei. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a wonderful, successful week. This week's shir is sponsored by the Wiederman family of Wesley Hills, New York. The shir is dedicated to Lezchut Rafua Shlema of David ben Tema and Dvora bas Aster. May they have a Rafua Shlema b'karov. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, Meridian Senior Health, the Haas and Zaltz law firm, and Bluestone Brokerage. For future dedications, please reach out to 845-367-2959. The great Rav and Mashgiach, Rav Chatzkel Abramsky, had been taken to the notoriously cold and harsh region of Siberia, known for its unforgiving, freezing temperatures. At the time, Rav Chatzkel was a young boy, and he had a frail, weak body, and he was prone to getting sick, and he ended up in the hand of devils. And amongst the torture that he endured, one of the things the generals, the Russians, would make him do would be to run with his bare feet in the freezing ice and snow. It would make his feet bleed and freeze, and he was a sick, frail young boy, and he had no way of fending for himself or protecting himself. And Rav Chatzkel turned to Hashem, and he said, Eibishter, he said, the Gemara in Ksubah says, everything is in your hand, besides fever and cold. And the reason is because a man, guard himself and keep him from getting sick. He can wear a coat, he can bundle up, put on a scarf, take vitamins, extra vitamin D, vitamin C. Rav Chatzkel said, Hashem, I'm in a different situation. I'm unable to take care of myself. And therefore, even for tzinem upachim, from fever and from cold and from sickness and from hypothermia, you have to save me. There's nothing I can possibly do. And the story is told that not once throughout his entire tormentous times through Siberia did he get sick even once. He simply casted the entire burden, the entire pain, and those years of Gehenna that he lived in Siberia, and he sent it up to Hashem, and Hashem took care of him. And despite his frail stature, Rav Chatzkel miraculously remained untouched by illness throughout the torment and pain of communist Russia. This is a story of bitachon, of full surrender and submission to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Kol Yachol. And we find this idea very hidden, very discreet in this week's parsha, in the famous story of the rocks that Yaakov put over his head. As the pasuk tells us, Vayifka b'makom vayolon sham. Yaakov came to a place and he stopped there for the night. Kiva shemesh vayikach me'avni ha'makom vayosim merashoisa vayishkav b'makom ahu. Taking one of the stones of that place, he put it under his head and he lied down in that place. And Rashi comments, a son came in Marziv, Savil Roisha. He made them in the form of a drain pipe around his head. Sheyare mipnei chayis rois, because he feared the wild animals. Now the obvious glaring question is, if Yaakov Avinu was afraid, if he feared the animals that were around him, the wild, ravenous animals that could have came over to him in the middle of the night and just ate him up, devoured him, how could it be that this one rock saved him? This one stone that he put under his head. They broke up and they wanted to all serve him. That's beautiful. That's nice. But how is that sufficient to pacify Yaakov's fear from not being eaten up by a vicious bear, by a hungry lion? And furthermore, perplexing, not only did he sleep, as the Apostle says, Vayishkav b'makom, that he slept, but the Medrash tells us, Oz telech levetach ze Yaakov. When you lie down, do not be afraid. This is Yaakov Avinu. Dechsiv Vayeitzei Yaakov, im tishkav lo tefachid. When you lie down, don't be afraid. As we learn from Yaakov Avinu, he lied down and he had a sweet sleep. This is unbelievable. Not only did Yaakov Avinu take one stone and put it under his head and neglect the fact that it didn't cover the rest of his body, but he slept and he had a sweet sleep. Like a long winter Friday night, just hunkering down, knocking out, sometimes a donut, not a donut. But either way, Yaakov had, the Medrash tells us it was a sweet sleep, went out of its way to tell us this fact. So obviously there's something to learn from here. And the question is, how do we wrap our heads around this? He was a lone man, running away from his savage brother Esav, scared, panic-ridden, and he's going to get killed from him, from his Russia brother. And he finally finds a place, and he hears howling, and barks, and crows, and roars of all the animals in the wilderness. He could just lay down and have a sweet sleep. And once he was making some type of shelter for himself, why on earth didn't he cover his whole body? Why didn't he make a blanket, a shield, an igloo of rocks, something? Bury himself in the ground. But he took this one rock And that was sufficient to keep him calm and to keep him content despite the frightening element. The answer is, says Reb Simcha Zissel Brody, the Alter of Kelm, Yaakov Avinu, the paragon of bitachon, is teaching us through this episode as well that sometimes all you can do is ishtadlus, is whatever is in front of you. And after that, there's nothing else that can be done. There's nothing else to do. Yaakov Avinu was running and he settled down, and all of a sudden the sun set. He looked around, he found a rock, and he put it under his head. He knew that that was all he can do. He wasn't going to start running around. That would be dangerous. Maybe he'd come into contact with a bear or a lion. Instead, he just stayed put. He sifted around. He found that stone, and that was good enough. The sight over here is incredible. Yaakov Avinu is teaching us, l'dorei doros, generations later, do what you can do. Do what's available, and after that, surrender. So many times we feel, if I would have done this, if I would have said this, it would have been so much better. Or about the future. We worry. We think we can determine or influence the future. Strategies, planning. If I do this, if I don't do this, if I say that, if I don't say that, there's nothing really to do. Besides, stay true to our core values and beliefs. Never let loose on our clench, on bitachon. And when we just go like that, passively, we're just going through liquid, translucent, light, and just doing Ratzon Hashem and aspiring to be great and to bring light to this world and happiness and shalom and just goodness to the whole world and to ourselves, then whatever happens, happens. By the hava, and whatever will be. And kol man da'av rachmana l'tavavid. And the deep, hidden lesson that we're discovering right now is much deeper than a project children bring home from their moros, with Yaakov Avinu lying with a bunch of stones fighting to be under the head of a tzaddik. Yaakov Avinu was giving over the Messiah for Deiros. He was fortifying and igniting us with the emes lamita, that there's nothing more we can do. We do our ishtadlus, and we leave the rest up to the Klal Yisroel. The story is told of a yid who went to the brisker Rav and said, I simply don't understand. We talk about emunah, we talk about bitachon, and we talk about how Hashem only provides to those that seek and take refuge in Him. So the seed asked the brisker Rav, I don't understand. On the one hand, it's understandable how and why Hashem provides and sustains and is mechalko the poor people, aniyim, because they don't have anything. And the only place they can turn, the sole address for all their needs, is to Hashem. So understand why Hashem provides for them. But the rich man, the gvir, who's arrogant and haughty, and takes refuge and pride and comfort in the knowledge that he has money, that he sees dollar bills, if that's his menuchas hanefesh, I don't understand. Why does Hashem take care of him? He doesn't have any bitachon. He's not looking to Hashem. He's not pouring out Hashem. Help me. Hashem, give me. Hashem, give me food. He's self-sufficient. He can row his own boat. So how can it be that he has anything if he's not turning to Hashem? And the brisker Rav answered, he said, I not only hear your question, he said, I've been grappling with this paradox for many, many years, and it's still unresolved. I do not have an answer. And the side is that we learn from Yaakov Avinu, that we see from our Gedolim, our Tzaddikim, we have to channel all our hope, all our challenges that we face in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and realize He's the only address, He's the only force that can possibly help us, that can possibly carry us through. And when we do that, we'll be happier and more wholesome Yidden. If I may end with a bracha, may Hashem give us all the siyata d'shmaya and clarity, the resolution and resolve to remain strong and fortified with bitachon, even in the face of life's greatest challenges, nisyonis, especially what's going on in Eretz Yisrael, with the unbearably tragic news that unfortunately we hear and we see every single day. May Hashem bring an end speedily to all of the unbearable pain and anguish that we're facing as a klal, as one unit. Hashem bring nechama to all those that need, and shmira and protection to those that are fighting on the front lines, and not just a temporary ceasefire, but permanent geula, real redemption for all of us, for the days of Umala Aretz Deya, with the binim b'ay shlishi, and the greeting of Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mher v'meinu, amen. I thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed. I wish each and every one of you a wonderful Shabbos. I thank each and every one of you for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and I wish you a wonderful Shabbos.